think my university has really made me tough and has made my platform very strong. My base is extremely strong because of my university. I can tell you one incident. It was minus 20 degrees Celsius in Chicago during peak winter time, and we had a class, and our professor asked us to come outside, and we were like, it's so cold, we cannot go. And he was like, no, this class is for a field trip class, so come outside. We went to a park. He told us to sit in one line. He told us to stare in front of a building, random building, and he told us, you took your paper and your pen and sketch the entire building with all the details in a perspective view in 1 minute. It was also snowing, I remember. Our hands were freezing. It was extremely cold, but no matter what, in 1 minute we had to make how many ever sketches we could. So the class was, I think, an hour long or 40 minutes. In that minus 20, we made about 100 sketches. 100 sketches was a lot. Yeah, so I think where you study, your foundation has to be extremely strong. And if your foundation is strong, no matter what and where you go, you can achieve what you want to do in life. It can be architecture, interior, or any other field, personally. In Belgium also, where I worked, nobody knew English. Everybody knew Dutch, Flemish, or French. So when I went there for the first time to work, my colleagues knew only French. And when I traveled, nobody knew even how to guide me to where I want to go. So I had to use my maps, I had to carry a pocket dictionary, and I had to figure everything out. So it was like literally being dropped in an ocean out of nowhere. But Belgium gave me an opportunity to think about what I can do and what I can't do in life. Is that I can live alone by myself no matter what. I can commute or go anywhere even though if I'm not familiar with that place. And I can work in a place where I don't know anybody. I mean, I didn't even know what was on the plan because the plans had measurements in French. So I had to convert all the measurements, all the wordings on the plan on a translator and then do my plans. So people in my office who took an hour long to finish the entire plan in sections and elevations, I would take 3 hours to do it. But I did it, no matter what. I had to do it. I believe that study abroad is a very personal choice. I choose to go there because I wanted a mix of interior and architecture both. So my foundation is strong, as well as if somebody comes to me with a project where I have to make a bungalow, or I need to make structural changes, or I need to even design a building, I would know my exterior before I start my interior. So until unless you don't know your exterior, you can never do your interior. It's a fact. So it depends on a personal taste and choice that how you want to have your design influenced from. You can go to Japan, you can go to Milan, you can go to Italy, you can go to Sweden, you can have a Swedish influence, you can go to America and study, you can go to London and study. So it is on you what influence you want to use in your design practice in future and what you can relate to. For example, you can even say that where you study or you choose to pick your university needs to have a background where you can relate to and have those choices and options. You can even study in India, but you should be very sure where you go. Most important advice is please do internships. Have a very good experience. Work at several places, because once you have worked at multiple firms or multiple places in which you want to explore the design field, you will know what you want to do. Even if it is being a site supervisor on site, I think that is the most important. I advise for all the students who come to me and work in my firm that until unless you don't have practical knowledge, you cannot be a good designer, because Nowadays, because of Pinterest and Google and other design platforms, world has become very tiny. I mean, it has become small in this design field. So it is very easy for anybody to become a designer, but it is very difficult to become an interior designer or an architect, per se. So there's a very big difference by, say, I am a stylist than a designer. If you can do anything out of Pinterest, you are not a designer, you are a stylist. But if you know your core very well, then you're an interior architect or a designer. So people who are going to start out fresh, please make sure that you know which client you are picking. The right client will get you the right work, and henceforth you'll get better projects. So if you pick a client who loves your design, loves your aesthetics, will say that whatever you do, I am happy with, then you must pick that client. And if there's a client you think will not be satisfied with anything you do, from before only you should say no, because later you don't want so many hurdles, or you don't want challenges to come up on that platform. And more than everything, you need your goodwill to start, to begin with, to start building a brand name and goodwill, then not making that. Secondly, make sure that you choose your contractors and vendors extremely well, because if you have the right contractor and your vendors who you've picked, any design you do, it will be implemented to the T. So if you have a good rapport with your contractor or your vendor, then nothing can stop you from making your dream home or your dream design or giving what you want for your client. I think that is very important, and to the T, because I faced so many difficulties where clients and contractors are always at two different ends, like north and south, and we are always stuck in the middle because what the client wants and the vendor cannot deliver. So I think that is very clearly, we live in India where it is a male chauvinist society. You can say it's a male dominant society. You will have clients who will be way older than you, or will want to dominate your design, or even related to your price point, where they might sit and bargain with you on your fee structure. So it has so happened that when any architect is there, they have put in so much hard work to become what they are as a professional. So when any client comes to me and says that, you know what, please reduce your fee structure, or can we do this, can we do that? So when I only tell them one thing: when you go to a doctor, after they do your heart surgery, do you bargain with them on their fee? No, they have cured you for life. So it's the same thing. You're a professional. You have the right to ask for what you deserve. So if you have made the house and finished your project, no matter what, please do not entertain any bargaining on any architecture fee or professional fee. It is your right. And secondly, when I face problems is when with my contractors and vendors, where they have tried to force certain ideas, cut down on budgets randomly, are overcharged me on BOQs. That's when I realized that no matter what, where a male is, I feel can do anything rather than. Also, when you start a project, you will figure if that client is very serious and wants to have you on board from the beginning to the end. And make sure that the respect is there from the beginning till the end, no matter what. Firstly, I feel all clients somewhere down the line are very finicky about certain things. It can be your budget, it can be your design, it can be quality, it can be your vendor selection. So you have to be very smart in making sure that from the beginning, if you say that this vendor is my vendor because I have dealt with that vendor and I like the way the vendor works. I do not know how your vendor works. So make it very clear from the beginning that these things are very important. When there are difficult clients, what you have to do is make sure that you have a contract copy ready from the beginning, which I have learned from my experience. So I got a friend of mine who's a lawyer on board, made sure that I had my contract copy in place first before we begin any project, and write down your points on that contract, sign it, and then begin. So that in future, if anything happens, you know where you are and where you stand. For design approvals, I feel when a client is not happy with what you have designed for them, you show them multiple options. You do mock-ups and then you explain them again and again that look, when I designed this and versus what you want, my design will look way better. So I believe in doing a lot of mock-ups and doing samples for them, do your mood boards correctly, make 3D views and 3D renders. Nowadays, 3D views and 3D renders help you get the right approval from the client. So you will never have any difficulty in your design. Payments, make sure that you are very crisp and clear about your BOQ from the beginning, and also tell the client that if you make any changes and certain materials which you have selected is way higher than the BOQ stated to you, then yes, the budgets will change. So hence we do minutes of the meeting after every site meeting. So the client and the architect and everybody else are in sync, and there is no loophole out here, or you can say you are not going to fall in a pit no matter what. We do not compromise on our materials. We do not compromise on our hardware or fittings and our fabrics, because I feel if you compromise on your channels or your fittings or your hardware, then it becomes very difficult for you in future to maintain that goodwill of your company. If you open a door you design for a client and the handle comes out, so that is not what you're looking at. Or if your plumbing pipes are not correct and there are leakages everywhere, so that is again a failure. So make sure that your quality is in control. Secondly, I feel fabrics really bring out the show of your house. So if you use rich fabrics and your correct fabrics, it will make a lot of difference. There has been a major setback when I was designing a house in Lonavala and the contractor cheated me, saying that I have done waterproofing, took all the money, and when the rains happened, my entire house got flooded. So that was the first lesson when I learned is never trust any contractor or vendor, no matter what. So make sure that you are personally there on site, monitoring every move, or you have a site supervisor who you trust, so nothing can go wrong. There are times when you will have professional failures as well, and mine have been more likely with contractors and vendors, not with my clients, because if your contractor and vendor is good, you'll never have a problem with the client. So it all works in a triangle. So you are here, the contractor is here, and the client is here. So if the contractor is good, takes you to the client, and then gets back to the client. I think I managed to do a space in 3 months, which was totally impossible. We had to launch a store and we had to build it from scratch. It is in Jaipur, it's called Amanda, and it's a retail outlet. And I used to fly every week there, stay there in that heat and make sure that the work is done. I think that was very challenging, but I was extremely happy with the later. And there was another short project which I had to do, is where again it was a time constraint. It was a 303 CrossFit drive at Ballard's estate, and it was totally out of the box because it was not a regular gym. It was something which I had never done before, but I managed to give the client something totally out of the box. And I think that was extremely inspirational for me. Another project is when I was only 22 or 23, I flew down with my client to Milan. It was a bare shell house, a 6,000 square foot house, and I wanted to plan the steps. It was a two-way, right in the center and give a courtyard feeling. So that took me a lot of time in doing all the practical work, but I think it turned out fabulous, and I was super happy with the project because the clients loved it. It's called Ashiana, and I think that made me decide that yes, no matter what, I can do. I can build homes and beautiful homes, you can see. Hope this was useful and this information will take you forward somewhere in life. If anything you need or you need to ask me, you can log on to chicagostudio.in, that's my website, or you can go to chicagostudio.mumbai on Instagram and see our works and connect with us. We are always there to help. Thank you, Karthik, for this opportunity again. Thank you so much.